Hello and karibu sana sana to Homescapes today. As usual, very excited to be coming live to you from the premises here at Mamlaka Hill Chapel, Ruaka. My name is Jasmine Wangai, your host for today. And the Homescapes team is excited and ready to, of course, bring a vibrant discussion and share insights with you. So make sure to engage us, make sure to comment and give your thoughts or questions. We love getting questions from you, and we'll make a point of attempting to answer them. And today we have an exciting topic as usual, and this has to do with generational gaps, generational differences. And this comes up from the many discussions we've had with this wonderful team. And what I've realized personally, and I think Reverend Lorraine here and Madenge probably, we've observed.
We feel the isolation already.
It started way too early before I even state my case. But an observation we've made is that we seem to have different approaches to life, to the way we do things, to the way we think, to the decisions that we make in different matters in our lives. And so that led to us wanting to ask, how did you guys do life earlier? And I'm particularly super interested in hearing about relationships, especially. That happens to, of course, be a core topic, you know, a vibrant, a hot topic for us. And we are very curious to know, how did you guys approach the topic on relationships? And you guys, of course, are free to chime in, ask questions, differ with them, say, you know, maybe not discard, just listen maybe, and hear how they... Listening is way better, right? And respectful.
Yeah. I wonder, where does Reverend Maura belong?
I'm neither in the skin nor in the flesh. So I'm just there in between.
You're the fascia.
You're the fascia.
I'm the fascia, right?
Dr. Hamisi, we learned quite a bit.
I'm the fascia.
Yeah,
In between somewhere.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Please do not disregard my views as well.
I will not. I promise not to. Yeah, but different aspects of the way we do relationships here. I don't know. I'm particularly interested in online dating, which is amazing for us. Makes meeting easy. You know, it's all you need to do is your phone and your computer. Click, say,
First of all, put
As
up
we
a
were a
really
lot
nice
more
picture.
biblical.
Put up a really nice picture.
With professional
with
makeup.
With filters, right?
Filters
With
and
don't
Terry,
get
Terry
it.
Winfred's makeup
Yeah,
up
yeah.
there.
Just been, I feel as we were more biblical in the way we did relationships.
Okay.
They were real. They were person to person.
They were
you
real.
know, and you met in the flesh and in blood, so that you could hear people's opinions. You could look at their facial expressions. I think it's really strange for us to hear about online dating, because my question is, what happened to the opportunities for actual physical meetings and interactions? Because we met around normal, what we thought was normal social and community activities. And of course, we recognize probably maybe it's a reflection of the breakdown of that aspect of community. But we just felt like it was the natural thing to do. I mean, nobody ever thought, of course, it was before all the internet and social media stuff. So the natural thing was that if you're in college, then you met the people you were in school with, and you go to class together, you interact. That's how we met, you know. And then there was opportunity. You went out for coffee. You were out in whatever activities that young people do. And that was the normal way of getting to know somebody. And because you're meeting them in real time, and in natural settings, for us as students, then you would know what does this person stand for, what are their values, who are their friends. Again, you can't pretend, because I can see who you interact with. If it is views, whether it's social, political, domestic, we're going to talk about those things in the natural settings. So that at the end of the day, I felt, you know, by the time you're making a decision, say, to start dating, you already know this person. You really do know them because you've interacted with them. You know their views and whatever they stand for, and you have ample opportunity to continue the investigating again in real person to person. So we don't quite understand the online thing.
Quite understand.
Yeah, but usual, let me
I don't even know why it's necessary. By the way, watch a too good
Wait a
Jonge.
minute.
I don't understand why
honest.
it is necessary.
But Bishop, if
Really?
you think about it now, think about how all those places you've mentioned for meeting have been disintegrated. You no longer go to physical class, you do online class. You no longer
That's a
meet
decent
in
thing.
church, you do online church.
That's COVID maneno.
But really, even now, even online class will continue from now henceforth.
Yeah.
No one wants to go
We'll go back.
I have to move from here to wherever campus
Yeah.
that is when I have an online option. Nowadays, even homes, we are in apartments. Everyone is closed their door. There's no community basketball place that you go to meet.
Yeah.
Our children in school, almost as if everyone has a cubicle where they learn. And learning is no longer 8 for 40 people in a class. In
Yeah.
fact, a class probably has 5 children and all of them are getting individualized learning system.
Yeah.
So where will we get to meet
Yeah.
and do all these hangouts?
I feel
And
like
you
those
know-
are bad options that you are taking. I just feel they are bad options. The fact
You
that
see?
that is happening doesn't mean that it should. I think there should be.
What do you mean?
Rather than continue to, I feel like the tendency, we've taken a trajectory towards more isolationism, individualism, etc., as though to negate the value of community, the value of personal interaction, the
No,
value
you
of.
see,
There are things you can do
I
on the
must
net.
say-
I don't refuse.
But relationships is
relationships,
what you
you
have an
See,
issue
the
with.
goal here, everyone's goal, your goal, our goal, is to propagate the species, right? However
With
you
the right
approach that.
people and in
However
the right
you approach
context.
that.
Yeah.
Because it's not that we have disregarded community, is the community has moved to a
To
different,
a different platform.
We get to have more friends, know more about people we would never have known about. If we only met people in school or pale home in my village. And you see, that's why people were just marrying in the same communities. At least now, we are marrying across communities, we're marrying across countries, across cultures.
In fact, you
We're
know, you say that.
in fact, the community is not breaking down, it is building up into
It's
more
globalized.
oneness.
Bigger.
Yeah,
It's getting bigger and
globalized.
We have a
And you
global
see,
arena.
I don't
and
think
the
it is
bishop is
better.
concerned. The
Yeah.
bishop is concerned that we don't know each other. You know, he keeps saying know each other, know them
Pretend.
personally.
There was also word, there's no opportunity to pretend. Like, oh,
yeah.
So your
But you
assumption
see-
is there's
but you
pretension
see-
that
I feel
goes
in
on
social
online.
media, you can be anything you want to be. Literally, that dream becomes true.
But
From the
here's
way
the
you
thing.
look, I mean, sometimes I've had people who, have dated online, and then somebody is jetting in to come and meet the person. They have seen the person and they've taken off in the opposite direction because they've been dealing with filters and other miscellaneous, what do you call them? When you Photoshops.
But
I
you
mean,
see,
this person
but
is not
you-
anything
but
near
no,
what you
you
thought.
guys keep telling us
Yeah.
the attraction is not physical only, because if on the inside I remain the person I was on when we were
When we were
chatting,
chatting and stuff.
even if you come and
And I was
find I
gonna
don't
say-
have
I agree.
makeup,
And I was
It's
gonna
not
say,
physical
in any
only.
generation, in any generation, we always keep agreeing on best foot forward when it comes to relationship.
course.
Honestly, best foot
Everyone
forward
puts
killer
that,
time. So
yeah.
I'm wondering, Kwani, how was your best foot forward like? There wasn't, ngarang, going to get Michael Kors jeans so that you're fashionable and stuff. How
in
did that
fact, these
look
are
like?
the ones whose truth was discovered in marriage. Afadhali-
No, there's a limit into how what no, I don't want to call it artificial or super. Okay, there's a limit to how superficial you can be in real person, because it will take me a very short time to discover, whether this is the real you or not. But okay, let's talk about prolonged online dating. I think there's opportunity to almost give your heart to something that is mostly, imaginative. Maybe you've read something about me and you can see certain pictures and profiles, because, I see people posting, food, they're in a posh place, they're eating there. I mean, I don't know that's a natural,
Fake it
okay,
until
maybe
you
for your
make it.
generation it is, but if I'm out on a date with my wife, why on earth would I want people to know what we are eating?
To record memories.
It's such a, okay, but the memories, we are both there, we can remember.
No, humans forget.
Yeah, we forget,
The brain is
honestly.
Okay,
Forget.
then-
How to know?
Then the issue is, we've taken that and then posted it to 2,000 people. Why on earth would they need to know
See, we are
what
making
we
it
are
in
eating? The people who need to know
See,
what
your
we are
friends.
eating is
See, the
both of us
2,000
and
people are your
maybe
friends.
5 people in the family, you know, because there's maybe a conversation about, oh, today we are trying seafood, and my family knows maybe we don't like seafood, but they say, oh, wow, you're really going out, you know, with this one. But the rest of the world, why would I tell them? Why is that a necessary thing? So that's a thing that my generation, we don't really understand very well.
The other thing we don't understand is this: is why currently there is more suicide than ever before, where guys have over 500 or over 1,000, 2,000 friends, quote unquote, on Facebook, and they are lonely, they are depressed. Why? Why? We are social beings, right? We need social contact. If this online dating is anything,
If anything,
Really?
oh my
Yeah.
goodness,
Why?
it's been discarded completely.
I want someone to explain to me its true value, then I can deal with it, I can relate with it. But currently I can't, because what I see is not seemingly attractive. It doesn't seem like something that can build long term, can be sustained long term. When we are dating or relating or establishing a relationship, we want it to last. We want to build a friendship. A friendship, even in cultures, have sayings to say that friendships are steps. Like any step I make towards my friend counts for friendship, and it's back and forth. And there's nothing artificial, there's nothing deceptive, there's nothing that isolates. But anything that is online tends to isolate. Help me, somebody explain to me.
Allow me to, I've been keeping quiet here because, you know, there
You don't know where
You're
to
caught in the
close.
middle.
I'm just caught
You're
in the middle,
literally
but
in the
let me give
middle.
let me just give you a
Yeah.
quick background of how things turned out, especially because I was in that generation between you guys and these other guys.
Yeah.
You know, and when I was growing up, we used to have this thing of pen pals, you know, where you write to
Oh,
someone, an
yes.
anonymous person in Norway or wherever you get, and all that.
Yeah, that we
That's what I
remember
know.
that.
So
That's
and then
what I remember.
they respond.
But
they send
we
magazines.
didn't date.
They send magazines. Sometimes you'd hope that they send money, but you know they send magazines and you enjoy and all that. But then when I was joining college around 2005, that's when University of Nairobi they were doing away with manual whatever. Now they were adapting to the technology to computers. Actually, I saw those cables in where we used to go
Being
into our
installed.
computer lab. You get, and the slowest machines ever, the diskette. Some of you may not remember the diskette. There was something called the diskette, you know, that will only take 2 pages or 3 pages of assignment, no photos and all that. And during that time, now internet was coming up, and people now are moving into online, you know, online community. We were the first people to experience this thing called online dating. You get, for us it came from, oh, this is how life has been. Now there's something else. Let's try it out. And I can tell you for sure that I tried a few meetups which turned out to
Did
be
you
very,
meet
very.
Joanne there?
No, I didn't meet Joanne there. I went back to my people, you know, because now it refused to work.
Tested
Your
the
true north.
Yes, it refused to work.
Like Abraham Big sending his servant,
Yes,
go back
yes,
to my
yes,
people.
to my people. Yes, that's what happened. But one of the things that technology did help now us, and I think these guys are the ones who have benefited a lot from that, is the way, you know, because now we have come from the village, we're in the city, you don't want to get someone from the village there, you know, and all that. So, but you don't know this person in the city. You get, these people, you don't know them in the city. So what will you do? You log in and you check how they are responding, how they are commenting, you know, those who used to comment, you know, to write Bible verses and all that, and, you know, and maybe writing a Bible verse, and on this other side saying how people, you know, or maybe abusing people. Then you get to know that this person, in real sense, this is who they really are. You get.
Background
So we
checks.
had the advantage. You guys, you had the disadvantage with you guys is that you had, very less information about a person. Us-
I want to collect you.
You get, for us now, for us,
very
we
passionate
were in
about
that
this.
place where at least you could get enough, you know, you get enough information from both sides. You know, when you get you do the physical interactions, and when you check
Plus
their
now you go
profiles, you know,
online.
on Facebook. Facebook was coming out then. There were other sites, dating sites that were very, very prominent, and all that. I think the downside on that, these guys, they have a lot of information. You get, they have more than necessary information to help you. You get, someone will know even where you are.
Information is power.
10
It
years
can never
ago,
be
10 years ago, you went
unnecessary.
to Uganda, or you went to, because they have checked everything online. You know, all your information is out there. And so even this clamor for privacy and all that in this generation is not working. You get,
Yeah.
because everything is out there.
And you're the one who put it up. Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, just to add on what Maura is saying, the online, looking at someone online is not just a question of what they post, my photos or my whatever. I have many other friends, and you can really tell who I am by following. Like, you can look at who I follow, for example, and if you find that I'm following pastors, then you know, then you know I'm truly.
You know the angle of attack, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you find me following and liking certain photos, then you also know, this one pretends to be this. So it's not just what I'm posting,
The pages
but
you
you
like.
actually, but if you're dating someone just physically, and in your time, I even wonder how many times you actually met. For us, even if we're not meeting, there's FaceTime, there's all those. Even if I don't have makeup at that point, you will see. So
Communication really is constant.
yes. So by the time you're getting married to someone, that's when you're beginning to really know, you guy, you have these addictions, you have these issues, you have this. As we already saw that online.
Let me
And we
tell
made
you.
a decision, mapema.
I wanted to correct Reverend Maura, but it is true. Technology is very important for communication. We've been with it for years. When 2005, we had worked with it for longer. It was there, and there used to be even a chat. You could chat on the on the computer. But I wanted to say that in our days we had a quorum of friends who knew you very well, both boys and girls who were part of your quorum of friends, and they would tell you in case you need to know something about the boyfriend or someone who is interested in you or somebody you're interested in, they will give you all that information. And that community we built around ourselves those days allowed you to know more about this guy and make decisions even before you date. And they were caring for you. And
The dating committee.
These are close friends.
Yes.
And this friendship was important because, unlike Lorraine's thing where you check what they were eating, what they were commenting, this is real life. What are they really talking? How are they spending their day? How do they spend their evenings? So guys, like, let's say this is my group of friends. You guys will be with him in the evening, or you'll be someone who was with him in the evening or another time, or even when schools or colleges have closed. So you'd know more about this guy better than you'd know online. So there was a value in having a social gathering or crowd around your dating relationship.
And the challenge for the posts, if that's what, you see, what I post is me who's posting.
Yeah.
Sindio?
Yeah.
So I really have 100% control
Yes.
over what I say. So it is possible for me to create a profile of myself based on what I want you to know or what I want you to see. And if I'm projecting a certain image, I am the editor and I'm also the one who's posting. It's like I'm the one who prints my own newspaper. So obviously it will always favor me, because I'll always be the headline there. So it's a bit harder. Whereas what she's saying, there's a certain degree of community accountability where when I'm out with my boys, there are things I will say. If I'm already dating seriously, but then there are things that I say in the evening that guys say, Allah, I thought this guy was serious with this lady. Kumbe, he says he's just passing time. So obviously because we're in the same community, this word gets around that, by the way, this guy, I don't think he's really, the girl really looks like she's very serious with him, but that's not what appears.
but
So
just-
there's a
can
check
I
and a balance,
ask-
I would say.
There's a
Yes.
question I would like to. Is it okay if I ask this question?
Sure.
Why do they think our relationships will not last?
I was going to ask.
be honest,
that was my next question. To
it
them.
was?
So yeah, it was my question.
in
So
any
from your
case-
observation,
And in any case, just to support Lorraine,
Yeah,
today I'm with you.
Maura, by
Today
the
I'm
way,
with you.
just idea
Yeah,
to-
today I'm
you're
with you.
welcome,
In the sense that,
Esther.
we are seeing some of these people, when they reach a certain age, maybe in their 50s, 60s, then you see that marriage. Many of those marriages, they are collapsing way later.
Yeah.
You get
Yeah.
when the
Well, is it
consequences-
later better than earlier?
when the consequences-
And wait, let me tell you. On top of that,
Later
on top of the
is better
fact,
than
kuna
earlier.
collapsing, obviously in front of the community.
Yes.
But there's also the collapse that they also hide from us.
Exactly.
But ukienda kwao, even the man does not sleep in the same bedroom as the lady. And huku nje they are coming to functions and they're saying, oh, this is my moduri, this is sijui my who. But it is broken down. Us, we're not afraid of just saying, this thing is not working.
being ourselves.
Even theirs is not working, just they're not telling us.
No, I think you're being harsh.
Are we though?
There must be at least a period where it works, at a minimum. You know, I mean, how many? The tendency now is to see people do elaborate, very posh, very even extravagant weddings, and 2 years down the road, they say we have irreconcilable differences. At least us, we lasted 10, 15, 20, even 30. You know,
But
you
if
cannot.
when is the issue of the money?
Yeah.
Pardon?
Is it an issue of the money? Ni uchungu ya lose the money that you spent
No,
for the wedding.
And
So
I
you
also
must
want
get
it.
return on your investment for at least 10 years before you.
And I also think
it's the quality of the commitment and it's the quality of the relationship
But
and the foundation
Bishop,
thereof.
And
but
also-
if you eventually break up, it doesn't matter whether you lasted
Yeah.
longer or
The
No,
not.
heart
no,
aches
it
the
does.
same
The
way.
heart
In
aches
fact-
still the same way,
in
you're not
fact,
together.
Okay.
As we don't have children to care
To
about
care
at the
about.
point.
Let's
you guys-
agree.
By the time you're saying
You have
you have
binding
to
things.
Okay, the breakup is not the standard that we are measuring in marriage. I think that one is being framed in the wrong way. Every marriage is for longevity and for lasting. Whether it lasted 2 years or 30 years, none of them went into it saying, let's get in so that we break up, you know, at one. That's never the standard.
Even us. Do you guys
I agree.
believe that about us? Me, I
Agree.
feel like you guys believe us, we get in.
Try and
Yeah.
No,
think
no.
on-
we are now talking experientially,
Yeah.
that you're getting in and getting out really quickly. And because we are also, you see, marriages haven't changed. Men and women face exactly the same issues in every generation in terms of interpersonal relationships. The question is, when we look at the things, for example, the guys who have shipped out of a marriage within 2 years or under 10 years, for example, you're getting out for the same reason. I mean, we have faced the same reasons, but we never got out. So your capacity to endure or to tolerate each other or to forgive and decide to move on is growing less and less and less. So it's true, they are not different, the marriages are not different, but the reasons for which you are shipping out, to us looks, this is so flimsy.
real.
How would you give up on an oath of till death do us part on the basis of something like finances are very big nowadays? You know, that those are enough. Yet you say it for better or for worse. So we are saying, with the same, gauged on the same standards, we see like your what is it called? Resilience, you know, to endure. And you know, we are called to persevere. There's a degree that, you know, even the ordinary Christian journey requires perseverance, even without marriage. Even our faith. If you're going to ship out for every small trial, oh, I lost my job, God does not love me anymore, I'm going back to the world. You can't do life like that. Life is serious. When you say till death do us part, it means things will happen along the way that you did not anticipate, that will shake your foundations. But if they were built on something solid, you will stand. But if you just dated for a few days on Facebook and then you got married, you know, I'm just saying, then it's true, you're getting to know this person in shocking and surprising ways, which you couldn't have known, or you probably would have known if you had met physically for a little longer.
You know what is coming out
see
here?
something
Yeah.
else is on the place we are compensating. We are compensating dating for longer with more information.
Yeah.
Right now, I can chat with someone on WhatsApp all day. You had to wait until Gioni and catch a bus from
It
here
now-
to
it
OTC.
now
Or
doesn't
write
let-
a
it now
letter
doesn't
and
let-
wait
Information,
for 2 minutes.
information that you control. But you
But
see,
you also control the
Conversation
information. You
is
see,
conversation.
Yeah.
Even when you're
you
meeting a
write letter
person,
to her,
Yeah.
in
you
person,
are controlling that information.
When
and she
you
would
meet
control
her,
response
you're
after
controlling
2 weeks.
yourself.
Yeah, but-
Silly.
regardless
at
of
least
whether
mine was well thought
Yeah.
through. You know,
So
like,
guys,
let's
guys,
no.
regardless of whether you meet
Guys.
online or you are talking on WhatsApp or you are talking in person, there is still
Yeah.
a level of control of the information
That you still have.
In WhatsApp, there is hastiness. You respond in 2 seconds. A letter I write over 3 hours.
Yeah, what we are saying is,
I'm thinking.
Okay,
what-
guys,
what
guys,
I can-
guys,
what
where's
you
my-
can know
where's my
about
bell?
me, what today?
You know what is coming out from this discussion? There are seriously pure, deep convictions on each side. And so what we want to do, we'll take a short break and take some time to see, is there a place we can converge? is there a generation that is better than the other? So see you shortly. Welcome back. I hope you're still together with us. Before we took the break, kamoto kalikuwa kameanza kuwaka, so we had to go cool down. And clearly, Madenge had a point. You had to finish. There's a thought you had that you were sharing.
Yes.
But the masses would not allow you. It's your time.
Actually, I was talking about Bishop's point on that you have to date physically. And just countering that with information now is very vast. You are chatting with someone on Facebook, you are chatting on WhatsApp, you are looking at their status updates every morning. There is so much more to know about this person other than having to wait for you to meet once in a day for 30 minutes in town and then waste all that time and wait until tomorrow. So maybe that is why they took long dating. They only will date people in the same circles with. But one of the things that is beautiful is that even the net has been widened, especially for us guys. There are some ladies that would never have gotten that, ever. Or even they wouldn't have taken a second look at me.
That's
if
true.
it was physical
That's
meeting.
true. That's
The
true.
more you meet, the more confusing it gets.
You know, but then
But because of
It is for
technology,
these women
because of
here.
technology, you can text the person on Facebook, ukijua jina yake, and you start a conversation. By the time they realize you are a village boy,
You have won a heart of.
Sasa unaona, alafu you will be discovered. Utashushwa chini.
you know, but then
Well, I've discovered the inner me has already come out. Yeah?
But then I gave you airtime because I thought your point was a point of convergence.
No,
I thought that's why we took
it
the
was.
break.
Madenge is saying like Hebrews. In the past, God used to speak to our ancestors. You know, but now,
These days.
By the way, our dates lasted 4 hours. At a minimum. You can't wait for 3 months and then meet for
Magari
an hour.
zitakuwa zimeisha.
You know, guys, we clearly seem not to be agreeing, but I have another one I want to throw in and see whether that might bring a point of convergence. Relationships, clearly, Bishop wamekataa kutoka his side yao, you know. Reverend Philip is still representing both
yes,
teams.
both sides. Yes.
But Lorraine na Madhenge wako huku kwingine.
For me, take the best of both worlds. Okay. That's what is working for us.
Position.
Hence
Yes,
why you've
mix
been
and
with
match.
Joan for long.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And it will last for real. You know, it will last for real. You know?
That's amazing.
And
But
I
anyway,
was just concerned about that. If these guys go their way, they're going to use a lot of ministry time because they're going to be praying for them all the time. They're going to discover new things.
Reverend Maggie. That's it. But anyways, guys, here's what. Let's see whether we can agree on this one. You know, goals, objectives, financing. You know, how did you guys approach them? You know, I have, for instance, I feel growing up, even for my own parents, making it in life is buying a kaplot, leave alone a kaplot, buying shamba, an acre of land, you know, build a house, settle down his family, take them through education, and by the time that is done, mwanaume ameweza hata akiketi kwa nyumba, you know, I sit back and then, you know, at the city gets
You can issue a statement which itasambazwa in the
itasambazwa
village.
kila mahali.
But surely today that might not be reasonable. Think
You
about
don't want,
Lorraine.
are you saying you don't want a piece
He has
of
not
land?
put down his weapons from the last point.
Think about Lorraine who in 5 years wants to travel Maju and settle
My
there.
friends.
Sasa amenunua
The next
kashamba
5 years,
kaburi.
I might be
Ina
next
flood
year.
huko imemea nyasi in the
Eh.
house she spent all her savings trying to build.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not reasonable.
There's always a place for kaplot na kanyumba, regardless of whether you want to go Maju or be a registered, you know, there are no sea mammals. Well, there is a whale. You know, even if you want to do cruising or from, I think some of those things for us were foundational in the sense that a house and a plot will always serve you, even if you don't want to stay there. You know, you can rent it out. It's an income to you. And we know when it comes to investments, those are basic investments, Kenya real estate and so on. They're always a good idea. And for us, that was always a priority. That, you know, ununue kashamba mahali, ujenge. In fact, kuomoka ni ushajenga. Bas, ushajenga. And if somebody has built, then you know, for us it was reflected, you have your priorities right. I think your generation is different. I've hardly heard
Yeah, you do
anybody
something
talking
like
about
that.
shamba
Yeah,
or
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
saying we don't want a home. We're
Yeah.
just saying we don't need to have our own home, my own shamba and my own house. I can see I go cruising and then I come back here to my apartment and see that's home.
Yes.
Or even change that apartment.
And change the air, ikinichosha because
not
you know,
mine.
or I've seen on social media there's a better house that looks a certain way. I can easily
You
move
move
from this
quickly.
and go to this other place.
I'm wondering, the buying of shamba, of
Yeah.
land and building a house, doesn't it bind you guys? Like, you're not, you know, the moment you travel,
You're
you're terrified. You're tethered. That's a good word.
tethered.
You're tethered.
You
So
can
who's
only
taking
graze
care
around-
of
Yeah,
it?
you just graze around a particular area in the world, the way the world, the Lord has given you.
let me
as well.
Maybe you
There's
just
no opportunity
Bring
to
down the
explore.
house to build another
You
one.
can't bring it down, itakuuma.
And let-
Hata
but-
unaona hii
Maybe
mambo
you guys
ishaze.
never had to really deal with the question of security. Because for us, it's actually, if you go down to why we did things the way we did, it was a question of security. And maybe your generation, thanks to our generation. You're not insecure. Why? Because
we have
your
not been
parents have
secure.
worked hard.
But is that
Yes.
so though?
I think so.
though.
I think most of you have a place to
Are
go
we-
back to that you're not responsible for having built or established. So that at the end of the day, it's not a big priority. I think a lot of people from our generation, especially those who came from relatively poor backgrounds, which is many of us, so you knew if you don't provide for something, it will not be provided for. So you had to provide for it. And for us, it was a real fear about maybe growing old, becoming poor and homeless and things like that. Those were real issues. And also we knew we had other responsibilities. For example, I knew as our parents aged, we knew it was our responsibility to take care of them. So again, you had to do better than your parents. So if your parents didn't have a home or a shamba or something, it was up to you, because they educated you, to acquire those things and do something for the family. So a lot of our generation actually talk about that as a place of, as just a foundational base to make you secure, because financial security was a big thing for us. So you worked very, very hard to ensure that the life you had growing up, you changed it, and you changed it not just for yourselves, but also for other family members. So it's very hard to find people in our generation talk about, I just want to travel, I mean, with whose money are you traveling? I mean, when did you earn enough money to just want to travel? So
Bishop,
building career was a very big thing.
How is financial security in owning a piece of land and building a house? If anything, eventually it's a liability, especially if I think
That's
about
very
a
good
house.
question, by the way, Jasmine.
How is that?
It's a real
What sort of-
asset, because if you think about it, let's say even in your early days, when you couldn't afford much, you bought a small house in Umoja or Nyayo Estate or somewhere. The truth about it is that real estate really is, what do you call Kupanda Bay? Yeah, it gains value a lot. So that what you bought for maybe 3 million 10 years ago could be worth 20 today. It just escalates in terms of value. So that becomes almost like a ticket to get you from one stage to the other. What you bought 10 years ago can now probably get you a better place, in a place like, I don't know what's a better
But you
place
see, what
nowadays.
that means is that in those 10 years, you have not lived. You're waiting to live.
Absolutely.
In a
You're
future
waiting
that
to
is
live
not promised to
To
you.
get to a better
Well,
place.
well, it depends on what living is. You see, for us, just acquiring the asset is living. The fact that you have this, you're actually very happy and
But
you're
you
very
see, you guys,
satisfied.
the truth is, I think, by the time you guys were owning those plots of land and homes, you're well into your years.
Yes, true.
Meanwhile, because when I was younger, I would be asked, what is it you want to get immediately? You get money. And to be honest, my answer has always been a car. Other issues. Now, I would be told it is a very unwise decision to get a car before you own a home. But then I would ask myself, if you guys who are telling me this are owning your homes at 50,
Yes.
are you telling me I will drive my first car at 51? To be honest, is that life? Is that in this Nairobi? The sun will be beating you, and the rain will be raining on you for years until you can afford
Waiting
a car,
to
because
afford a
you
house
must have a
first.
home first.
And-
Until you can't park your car in someone's apartment. I can.
And
They have provided parking for me.
question there, because it's not about financial stability. That when you have a home, then you have financial. But nowadays, things like Bitcoin are even growing faster than a piece of
Than a
land.
nini.
Surely, instead of taking a loan that you will
Yeah.
pay for 10 years to own a piece of land,
Yeah.
why not go and buy Bitcoin? And in those 10 years, the Bitcoin has gone even higher
Yeah.
than what that land would ever dream of.
And then, have you ever sat with older people, Aki, I'm really sorry, you guys, who tell you stories of, the way when we were younger, my wife and I, we went to Morocco, we saw this, and then we went to Italy and we saw the other, and we went to, and they are living in an apartment as they tell you this, but you
Yes.
envy their life.
Memories.
You
How
can
much
see the
more? You
fulfillment.
can either have a home or a global record
And
Yeah.
of
mindset.
and mindset. You have global trotted.
But me, I
and
want
now
to
you can
argue that
tell
it doesn't
people.
have to be either or.
Oh, you've taken my thoughts.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
the thought. Please pick it up.
Oh, you
Run
were
with
saying-
it.
I'm just
Run
gonna
with it.
say, the fact that you invest in land early or in real assets doesn't stop you from enjoying the world.
Yes.
You can have both. It's a question of your priorities and your investment plan. So if you have values and your goals, are well established. It's not like you build a house on the sand. Because what I'm hearing you advocate is you build this nice house right now on the sand without any foundation, and the rains will come. The storms will come, and it will tumble down, and then you have nothing to stay in.
At this
So
point, we should sing that song.
it's there. I think we sing it from Sunday school.
Yeah.
And I think we need to take it to heart. That you need to build that house on solid ground. Where is solid ground? That Bitcoin business. I'm not very conversant with Bitcoin and this
Cryptocurrency.
money things, cryptocurrency thing.
The value has currently gone down.
But I hear,
You know that.
Musk
yes,
alikataa kununua.
yes, I was told the other day that it rose by thousands suddenly. Then, with the same speed, it went up. With the same speed, it tumbled.
plummeted.
There
With
are
that-
people who
with that
sold when
tweet.
it was up there and made
we-
millions.
So
Yeah,
how
with
many
that-
are
with that-
young and wise?
There's another one, Rev Maggie.
You are
There's,
Swift,
there's
you got
another one,
yourself
those
some
currencies. Because now I'm shifting to where you are at now. I'm with you now. I'm
We think
one
you're a
that-
high
Thank you
point.
for the flexibility.
the founder of those,
We have a
whatever, those
politician
things,
who we know.
died. You know, died with the passwords.
He died.
Yes, he died.
The
with
known
someone,
person
not
died.
Bitcoins, some of those currencies.
Yes.
I think last year, I think there was a lot of fear because he died without with the passwords, and so guys could not transact or
They
something
could mine.
like
They
that.
call it mining.
Or mining or whatever. You get so there are many risks. There are many risks. So in as much as I,
Even you guys die with title deeds you
I was
haven't
gonna say
told
that.
people
the plot of
about.
lands they
So
go-
at least one-
the government, you die and you come
No, no,
become
it
a
is true.
man.
at least now
Guy
we
with
have
insane password.
We died.
now at least
Okay,
now we
let's
have
allow
because-
Reverend Philip to finish his thought.
But before,
At least
I need to answer
at
this
least
one.
now we have the
Heavy point.
at least now we have the unclaimed asset authority, which in case someone dies without
Yes.
having told
Yes,
them,
CTO.
I mean
Especially that
there's
one.
a sense of protection.
Yes.
You get,
But now
one
if
of the
you
things
die
that-
with a password,
you can never resurrect them. But I
We
think
shall
at the
soon
core-
discover and need an authority, an association for that.
Yeah, I think
Their
Yeah,
password.
see, that's how unclaimed
at the
assets
core,
authority
at
came
the
out.
core of all this, I think one of the desires is stability. You know, all of us, you know, you reach a certain age where you need stability, and I think a real asset that is land or a house, you know, and all that, it meets that desire. You get, in case in future something happens, and especially for those who are not afraid of death, you get, because the young guys are saying, what if you die? Tomorrow is not promised.
Yeah.
You know, so let
We
me
shall
enjoy my
surely
things
die
now.
at some point.
The fear that for us we have, what if something, I'm still alive, but
Yeah.
I've lost a source of income, I've lost a job, and where will I go? So our fears are different.
Yeah.
You get
Yeah.
In fact,
that level.
what if you die?
Yes.
You know, that one is easy. When you die, you have no worries. Eh? What about if you live long? You know, and you never invested at all. Because again, for our generation, I think a reality that we have to face, all of us, is that as you grow older, you have less energy in terms of just your ability to even say generate income. The options become less. You become maybe more sickly because your body is powering down, so to speak. So medical bills are likely to rise and so on. And so you will need some source of passive income that can keep feeding you. Now, I have no problem with the investment in cryptocurrency and all the modern options that are there. My real concern is that we say that as though there are real options that we are taking, but many people are not actually doing it. You know, we say, but why not do this? Why not? For our generation, at least, when we say kafuroti, we actually buy the plot. When we say building, we actually build the house.
Yeah.
But I fear that for the younger generation, we say, oh, we don't want the plots, we don't want the land. But if you look at what are you doing actually in place of that, you're traveling more. You know, you're living it up.
KFC.
You're buying your Mercedes after you get your first job. You know, now maintaining a German car is like, you know, having 3 homes. It's very expensive, or European mix.
Wow.
But now that becomes the lifestyle. How you live now becomes more important than the future. I'm not saying that you should starve or like what you're saying. I don't want to have to build to drive my first dream car when I'm so old I can't even go beyond 30 because I'm afraid, you know.
You can't even see the car ahead of you.
Yes, at 50 kilometers per hour, I'm getting dizzy because of the speed. That's not good. We want a balance, eh? But then the
Absolutely.
point is, are the young people actually doing those investments, the modern ones? Even if, because there are many options now to work and earn income online, are we actually doing that? Because everybody will need financial security when they are older. Everybody will need a base. For example, if you lose a job, it would be nice to have your own house where you don't pay rent. Are we actually doing those things?
Here's what I must say. Bishop says a good thing, but here's what I think also happens. You guys educated us. We appreciate it. And now we have brains that can give us really good jobs. When they see us buying German cars and living in good homes, they think all our money has gone there. But it's not true. We are.
If you get to know us
if
better.
you actually get to know us better, you see that we are doing to chamas. We are saying, let's collect this amount, let's put it into this, passive income. We are doing it. It's just because we have really good jobs, and young adults can have really good jobs. The assumption is that car has taken all your money. Maybe some people do it, but I think a good chunk of us young people are actually have split up the money, and good money is going into savings and investments, and good money is going into living now. Because
And then I also
guys,
feel
No, that's fantastic. If that's happening,
to add on that, even though assets are a really huge thing, I feel like we are also investing quite much on things like memories, things that you guys did not try.
we don't care about.
So when we're talking about
say it about memories.
so say for example, every year we have an anniversary for our wedding.
Yes.
And we want to do something special and go somewhere special and get to see the world. And in as much as you might say, that is nothing solid, there's nothing solid there, for some reason, it actually feels like the investment into such a thing every once in a while is actually meaningful as well. So that if I'm spending 100,000 shillings every year and saying, let's go to Egypt
In fact,
this
my
year,
question
next
would be,
year, let's
is it
go
okay to have different goals and aspirations and that be okay?
Yes.
In fact,
is
so
it-
guys-
is
For
it
me
a
to be
difference
okay
in
to be
goals?
kicked out of my house,
And-
but I have memories of Italy.
And here's a question. And here's a question.
Yeah, that's
Oh
it.
my
You can
goodness.
invest a lot of dollars.
And you have your photos in your handbag.
So,
And that's all you have.
and I'm
And
fine.
photos cannot
And
be
they will be
taken away
seen
from
for
me.
years to come.
I have photos on my
Guys,
Instagram page.
Guys, here's a question. Here's a question. Now, seriously, guys, are there points of convergence? And because I feel a little bit on this side of this generation, I'm wondering with Reverend Maggie, Bishop, and a little bit, half of Mwaura.
Yes.
Yeah, I have this
That's
question.
50%.
50% of Mwaura.
Yeah.
Are there values that you guys look at us and feel, okay, sawa, guys do online dating maybe. Are there values that you feel we've fully neglected in pursuit of a revolution to not want to be the older generation, that from your interaction with the newer generation and the older generation, you feel, guys, sawa, it's true, be yourself, YOLO, all those many things, but these 3, these 4, these 5, whatever number it is, remain foundational, that you could probably share with us so that we see, tutawai patana ama there's no hope for these 2 generations.
And maybe top of my mind before we hear from the ones who have gone, who have lived longer.
That is gone before us.
Yeah, no. It's one of the things that I'm learning is first, do not assume. I think we have lived in a place of assumption for too long. In this sense, for example, at where I am at, if I have saved enough money, thinking about my future and planning for my future, and I put up a very nice apartment, it will not meet my goals if I don't have someone, who is young, who want to live in that house. If the young person again on this side assumes that you're saving for what in a future that you are not aware, I can't save my money. Where are you going actually to live? Where are you going to rent that to get that apartment or to let it out? So I think there is a place of the 2 generations merging, and that's where I am at now.
Yeah.
First, the place of really understanding and not living in a place of assumptions that those ones are bad because they are living in a very posh apartment, or those ones are old and senile and all that because they're only saving they're saving 50 million to put up an apartment somewhere, and tomorrow is not guaranteed, tomorrow is not promised.
Absolutely.
They will
Thank
die
you.
and the children will fight over the apartment.
Absolutely. Rev Maggie, do you have...
Yeah, I just wanted to say that all the generations that have ever existed always find the next generation a little short-handed, or they find them not like them because they're not like them, certainly. So every child, even my children, for example, they are different from me. This is even a different generation. My parents found me different. I wore a belly bottom.
You did?
On their
Do
money.
you have a photo?
Yes,
as a
I do have a
memory?
photo.
Next time on Homescapes.
They have issues.
The first were few and far between.
But they do have issues of contention in terms of dress, in terms of character, in terms of habits, in terms of their goals or lack of the same. Generations will always be like that. However, there are things that are enduring that we should be looking at, especially in terms of values. So if you look at our kids' generation, your generation, the below Maura generation, sometimes generations want to negate what the previous generation was doing, but they still are doing the same things. If you examine every generation examining themselves, you find that they aspire to be like the previous generation in terms of the things that were working. And the best thing would be, look at the things that work. If there are things that don't work, fix them and have a better something to show the next generation, right? However, there are things that we need to be careful about when we're looking at the differences in the generations. Number one, we planned. We try to plan for longer than just here. So the generation just sees just today. I eat a meal today, I take a photo of my meal, I post it, you like it, you don't like it. It's a bit short term. And we need to begin to think longer term. So don't think about now only, think today and think tomorrow. Think self and think another person, not just self. So in terms of planning, if you have a goal, let your goals show 100 years from today, what will your life count for? When you're planning, don't do 5 years only. Don't do 50 years. Think 100 years. Think generations. So that you make an impact not for today, but that will last generations. Isn't it?
Wow.
The second thing, I want to say that before I close. When you think not just about yourself, think community. Think generosity. Think love for your neighbor. The Bible is very keen. Not just love God, but love your neighbor as yourself. So let's help this generation be kind, be generous, be global. Not just think global at a friend from I don't know where. No. Think of how you can touch a life away from your generation and away from your immediate geographical situation, right?
Yeah.
So when we think longer term, when we think wider, global, we are more helpful to the next generation than just serving ourselves.
Wow. Wisdom right there.
Wisdom.
Thank you.
Yes, we
Thank
hear
you.
you, Reverend
Bishop,
Maggie.
thank you.
Please submit to such advice.
Apart from agreeing with the wisdom of my good wife, on that question of community, I think it's really good to return ourselves to a place of what I can call community responsibility. Again, because we are believers, we don't have the luxury of isolating ourselves. In fact, one of the dangers of the current generation, which we can call the selfie generation, even pictures, Nadi Chapa, so much is about me.
Self, yeah.
Whereas for us to take a photo in the past, I had to involve somebody else. So the idea of community is quickly being lost and almost being rendered irrelevant. But we need each other. We are better together. The Lord expects that we will carry each other's burden. Yes, we have individual lives, but we are also called in community to have shared values and shared goals that we help each other achieve. So that if tomorrow you're struggling, I should care that for example, you're saving up for a future. Because if you don't, and you live irresponsibly, you will at one point become my burden. So it's sometimes even for a bit of selfish
Absolutely.
whatever.
Yeah.
Because Paul says, don't be lazy, all right? Work hard. Whoever was stealing should stop stealing. Work hard so that you'll have something to share with somebody else. You become part of the community solution. And so that's something that, whether we're a new generation or not, we must never lose.
Yeah.
That somehow we're in this journey together.
Yes.
And that's how God looks at us, called out in community. So the question of community responsibility, we talk about a breakdown in traditional society and so on, but we can return to at least an accountable community that can work together. So that if tomorrow you're going wrong, I'll be my brother's keeper. I should be my brother's keeper. And you shouldn't push back because I called you out on an issue. I think you should realize that I'm doing this. When you stand, I'm better off. Because if I fall tomorrow, I'll need you to be strong to hold me up. So I'll hold you up today because tomorrow it will be me. So that's responsibility. The other thing that I think we cannot renege on is the question of something as basic as the honor of parents. All right? When we talk our generation, we say we are probably the last generation to take care of our parents in terms of duty. All right? The new generation, your generation, I don't think you grow up to say, oh, I was educated by my parents. You know what? When mom grows old, it will be I'll take over. You may do it because, not everybody then is thinking about themselves, depending on your background. But in terms of, nobody told us that it is our responsibility to take care of our parents. We knew. If that's how you were brought up, you knew. So that it's not an issue, it's not even a question of debate. But if any of our generation neglected their parents, we can fully expect that a curse will come upon us. And nobody told us that, but we just know. There's a DNA thing in us that shudders to imagine I would neglect like my mom. It's indescribable. Yet, I think your generation may be more comfortable with being taken care of by your parents than taking care of your parents. I think it will be the natural default.
Yeah.
You're not thinking of, oh, I'll take care of you. You're thinking, that mom mujipange, because
Me, I'm your child.
me, I'm your child.
That's
I've
very tight.
places
I'm
to
so
go, appointments to keep. I need to go to New York and see how the world lives out there. And should I fall, I'll expect you to be there to catch
Come
me.
to my rescue.
We don't, that's a different kind of thinking. But you see, again, I'm going back to scripturally.
Yeah.
We are expected to honor our father and our mother, that it may go well with you. And there's a promise that is attached to that. And that means that when we are no longer strong, because we did our part, we spend our strength in ensuring that you stand and become a person in society.
Yeah.
That when our strength is gone, it's your responsibility to take over. Again, the Bible says that even a widow should be taken care of by her own family if they are already there. Because if you reject that, then it's the same as rejecting the faith. You're living like a pagan. So there are certain responsibilities that even though the generations change, the values and the responsibilities and expectations from God do not change.
Yes.
Whether you're of this generation or the other, you should look out for your parents. It's part of honor. I think the last one I would say is the question of, we are talking about responsible stewardship. Responsible stewardship is about taking care of what God has entrusted to you. And I think stewardship will even go to relationships. Pursuing integrity in relationships. That because I'm a believer, even though we met online, for example, I cannot use social media to hide my real self. That I owe it as a question of integrity for me to let you know who I really am. So if I'm social media, nimeweka my filters, I look like the next biggest thing to appear in the charts. But I have, I don't know, hidden fears, hidden addictions and all that. If I see that this relationship is getting serious, I have to sit you down and say, there's something you need to know about me. Yeah? About 5 years ago, I was in rehab. Things had happened. I went into, substance abuse. Now I'm healed. But I need to be a man of integrity where relationships is concerned. Because if you're already talking marriage, you're going to discover these things. And if you discover them after the fact, then it's very easy for you to say we have irreconcilable differences. Because if I knew that you had been in addiction or this is a risk to you, I would not have married you.
Yeah.
So something breaks that would have actually been beautiful. Whereas if I had brought you on board earlier, you'd actually have been empathetic and said, you know what, I'll walk with you this journey. So integrity in relationships is part of the bigger picture of stewardship.
Wow.
So those are areas of convergence.
Wow.
Yeah, I need to say something to strengthen the bishop's point before we close. But this is a caution, because in our generation, there are two values that were frowned upon, and one of them was greed, and the next one was selfishness. So it's a human problem. But in this current generation, the younger generation, the issue of selfishness and greed that helps focus only on self is something that we should be cautious about. And if you take caution now as something to look forward to, are people that have the values that the bishop has explained very well, then we stand to have a stronger and more enduring relationship.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Universally acclaimed team. That was wonderful. That was a very enriching discussion. Clearly, there is convergence, and especially when we explain things and we look through the lens of the Bible, we do see clear points of convergence. So thank you so much for joining us and for your contribution. Cool. Contribution. It is contribution. It's the wisdom sinking in. So that's it for today. Until next week. They're laughing at me, guys. Come on, I'm wrapping up. Until next week, stay safe and God bless.